The U.S. is under attack by the Russians who meddled in the 2016 election and who are about to do it all over again. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas was at the hearing.
Tonight, this dire message.
Frankly, the United States is under attack.
President Trump's 6 top intelligence officials warning the Russians are already targeting the upcoming 2018 midterm elections.
That new scandal rocking the White House. The president's lawyer now admits he personally paid Stormy Daniels. She's the porn star who said she's had an affair with Donald Trump. He said it happened just weeks before the 2016 vote. Campaign watchdogs called that an illegal campaign contribution. An official investigation now underway. And our chief national correspondent Tom Llamas is tracking all the latest. Good morning, Tom.
It's the clash of the canines, the quarrel of the quadrupeds, the Super Bowl of being a dog. Featuring ferocious competitors like Bean, the brown bombshell, Ty, the trustworthy, and Biggie, the small. But there can only be one top dog, and that was Flynn the Fluffy.
Roses may be red, but retailers are seeing green this Valentine's Day. The National Retail Federation says consumers are expected to spend $19.6 billion on the day, just shy of the record $19.7 billion spent in 2016. According to the Federation's annual survey, individual consumers will spend an average of $143.56.
George, good morning to you. We've just learned, as you mentioned, the FEC has been asked to look into an illegal campaign contribution possibly involving the Trump campaign. That alone is serious enough, but the money in question is an alleged payoff by one of the president's most loyal allies to a porn star to keep her quiet about an alleged affair she had with President Trump years ago.
The court will call the matter of People versus Samuel Lincoln Woodward.
The 20-year-old accused of stabbing his high school classmate to death is charged with murder. Behind bars, Sam Woodward remains in an orange prison jumpsuit, while his parents had this to say about their son on the way out of the courtroom.
Mr. and Mrs. Woodward, is there anything you'd like to say after this hearing?
Not right now.
A group of climbers had to be rescued from near the top of Oregon's tallest mountain when conditions turned treacherous. Authorities say more than half a dozen climbers were high up on Oregon's Mount Hood when one man fell to his death.
This morning, a stunning admission from President Trump's longtime personal attorney. Lawyer Michael Cohen admits to paying $130,000 of his own money to pornographic film actress Stormy Daniels, the woman who says she had an affair with Donald Trump in 2006 at a Lake Tahoe golf tournament. Years before he became president, but just months after Melania Trump had given birth to their son Barron.
Documented as one of the most active days for chats in 2017, Valentine's Day 2018 is fast approaching, and Facebook Messenger is ready and waiting with new features for couples taking the plunge to publicly define their relationship. The messaging platform will include special effects, different ways to personalize your conversations, and more, starting on February 14th.
These twins may only be turning 2, but they have a lot to celebrate.
I just want them to live life to its fullest because they've been given the opportunity that we weren't sure that they would have.
A mother's wish on her daughter's birthday, one she's calling a victory. Selah and Shyla Oglesby from Indiana were born conjoined at the chest.
Neither the Trump Organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with Miss Clifford, and neither reimbursed me for the payment, either directly or indirectly. Cohen said in a statement, the payment to Miss Clifford was lawful and was not a campaign contribution or a campaign expenditure by anyone.
We need to inform the American public that this is real, that this is going to be happen, and the resilience needed for us to stand up and say we're not going to allow some Russian to tell us how to vote.
The White Walker claiming best in show from a pool of 2,700 prime pooches, proving that champions aren't born, they're bred. Take a bow, bow wow, but don't get too comfortable. Ty is right on your tail.
Bringing home greeting cards, flowers, and chocolates for their loved ones. But there are also large numbers who have no love for Valentine's Day at all. Roughly 45% of those surveyed said they would ignore the pressure to buy anything for anyone else, although some said they might buy a little something for themselves.
Cohen did not say whether Trump knew he made the payment. Reports of an alleged affair between Daniels and President Trump resurfaced after a Wall Street Journal report alleged Daniels was paid $130,000 just before the election. In Touch Weekly published what it says is a transcript of a 2011 interview with Daniels, in which she reportedly said Trump, then a reality TV star, invited her to his suite where they later had sex.
Woodward was the last person to see Blaze Bernstein alive. Court documents obtained by the Orange County Register say Bernstein may have been planning to romantically pursue Woodward. Investigators say Woodward returned to the murder scene days later here at this California park.
We have just brought down 2 of the climbers that were stranded at Hogsback. Both of them are upset. They appear to be physically and mentally exhausted, which I think is a normal reaction to an event like today. They were part of the original climbing crew that included the gentleman who fell.
The new features will apply to those who update their relationship status on Valentine's Day and beyond. Valid relationship types specifically include in a relationship, engaged, in a civil union, married, in a domestic partnership, and in an open relationship.
That there's a life that I have to deconstruct now.
As they face the reality, their Ivy League 19-year-old son, who is planning his next semester at UPenn, is gone. They shared a liver but had 2 hearts. Doctors gave them a 5 to 25% chance of survival. At 3 months old, they were successfully separated.
The reason why they are doing so well, and really the credit should be given, to the parents as well as their support system.
And that the president promised her a role on The Apprentice. Daniels telling the magazine the affair lasted about a year.
Is any of that true?
Define true.
The adult entertainment star refused to break her silence when she appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live following the State of the Union.
Do you have a non-disclosure agreement?
Do I?
He's accused of having abrasions, scratches, and dirt on his hands. He's also accused of cleaning up the car that he used the night that he picked up Blaze.
As the memorial grows where Bernstein's body was found, his parents hold back tears.
He was busy shopping online and having for those deliveries to be made, so that's really gut-wrenching for me. That just tears me apart.
Have you seen Russian activity in the lead up to the 2018 election cycle?
Yes, we have seen Russian activity and intentions to have an impact on the next election cycle here.
ABC News has learned that the Russians plan not only to use social media to sow discord through fake news, but are probing state election systems to see if they can be infiltrated.
A rescue helicopter flew close to the steep, snow-covered mountainside to reach the stranded climbers near the mountain's 11,000-foot peak. One female climber needed extra assistance.
Once you've made the changes to your profile, you'll receive a notification in Messenger that will open up to a conversation with your significant other. Within the window, a heart shower effect will rain across your screen. And that's it. You're official. And we all know you're not really official until your Facebook status official.
You can't say whether you have a non-disclosure agreement, but if you didn't have a non-disclosure agreement, you most certainly could say, I don't have a non-disclosure agreement. Yes?
You're so smart, Jimmy.
Now, in the months leading up to the election, Jacob Weisberg from the online news site Slate was working on breaking the Stormy Daniels story, but that's happened just before the payment occurred.
We reported in the September before the 2016 election that 21 states were targeted by Russian hackers. And this stark assessment from the Republican chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee.
But we've seen some activity at state elected officials that were attempts electronically to search those individuals.
They were also with a female. The female is currently being brought down by rescuers. She is unable to walk. She is unable, as my understanding, she is unable to physically move. So they have put her on a sled. They are roping her down, which is a time-consuming maneuver.
Climbers reportedly said the combination of fierce wind and falling rocks and ice made the area like a bowling alley.
A support system that's full of love from their proud parents, despite a rocky and uncertain 2 years.
It's overwhelming when you find out that there's something wrong with your child, but I think that there's always hope.
Here's to more happy birthday wishes ahead.
So we assume that there's still the intent.
Some senators criticizing President Trump who recently said this.
Could very well have been Russia, but I think it could well have been other countries, and I won't be specific, but I think a lot of people interfere.
We cannot confront this threat, which is a serious one, with a whole of government response when the leader of the government continues to deny that it exists.
He says, though she was seeking compensation for telling her story, he felt she was telling the truth because her story was so detailed and she had friends who could corroborate parts of that story. We have reached out to the White House for comment this morning, but so far we have not heard back.
And
George?
it provokes so many other questions, Thomas. As you said, Michael Cohen, one of the president's most loyal aides, one of the most longest-serving aides. The question is, why did he make the payment? How could President Trump not know?
It's remarkable that you've got all the leaders of the intelligence community, yet you still don't have the President of the United States acknowledging the level of this threat.
You want to hear more from him?
We've all been waiting a long time.
Yeah, we still don't know the answer to that question, but we do know this. Michael Cohen was one of the closest people outside of his own relatives to Donald Trump. His office was just steps away from President Trump's at Trump Tower. He didn't have an official role in the campaign, but he was known as the pit bull. He would take care of problems for President Trump outside of the campaign. He would go after reporters on cable news and threaten lawsuits. A very tough customer. We'll see what happens now.
This was right before the election. Tom Llamas, thanks very much.
All right, so let's get to Pierre Thomas with us live tonight as well. And Pierre, there were pointed questions today about exactly who is in charge of this effort to combat Russian interference. Is any one agency overseeing this, protecting the U.S.?
David, all the agencies say they are doing their part, but tonight it appears no single intelligence or law enforcement agency is in charge of responding to the Russian cyber threat.